The Mario series isn't really known for its character work. I don't think that's a hot take there. Don't get me wrong, the characters in Mario games are memorable and iconic, but they aren't particularly interesting by themselves. They're more often defined by the gameplay challenges around them than anything else, which doesn't particularly interest me. However, I don't think this means that there isn't room for analysis regarding them or their place in the games, and I think that a lot of people have shown that Mario characters can have a surprising amount of intrigue to them that wasn't necessarily intended. Of course, there's that infamous Waluigi piece, which in a vacuum is pretty good. It tells of how in a world of capitalism we are all Waluigi. Twisted reflections of other ideas that we've been told to reflect on. Waluigi is angsty about being, well, just another Luigi. And in essence, under capitalism, we are all reflections of capital. Unfortunately, Waluigi is a meme character, so people tend to take this essay and misinterpret it and spread those misinterpretations around, or just make fun of it as memes are wont to do. It's a really good piece if you ever find the time to read it though. I just wish it wasn't so reposted. I think that due to his status as being Waluigi but less irreverent and irrelevant in the eyes of most gamers, Wario is sort of a footnote in discussion. There was a time where he was more popular and relevant in the gaming sphere, where he had much more frequent releases as well, but it's been about a decade since then. Sure, they still make WarioWare games, but nowhere near as many as they used to. Regardless, Wario is my favorite Mario character due to the circumstances of his existence and what he exists to comment on. Wario is for all intents and purposes an evil version of Mario, but not just reverse. All of the bad traits Wario has are demonstrated a lot throughout his games. He's greedy, a huge womanizer, obsessed with fame, and pumps out iterative games that nobody is really interested in. It's been that way ever since his debut, and even through his own Wario Land titles where he plunders treasure from people simply because he can. But a lot of people bemoan the loss of the Wario Land series, and I do to some degree as well, simply due to how fun they can be. I can't help but feel like WarioWare demonstrates these tenets of Wario's character much better. In those games, his greed manifests through the cheaply produced microgames that he pumps out constantly. These personality flaws are core to how we understand Wario as a character. They're who he is, why he's the opposite of Mario, right? Well, to be honest, Wario isn't that much different from Mario. If anything, Wario is Mario's tendencies interpreted in the worst possible way to make for an interesting foil. Throughout the games, Mario is all of these things. He's constantly grabbing coins as an act of greed. They're essentially useless to him otherwise, only providing an extra life that he almost certainly doesn't need due to the ease of his adventures. Most of his quests are motivated by rescuing princesses, which could be extrapolated into him lusting for them. He's constantly in the spotlight and naming things after himself, or at the very least having things named after him, like all the circuits that his name is plastered on the Mario Kart games, or hell, even just his own games themselves. It's never just tennis, it's Mario Tennis. Even the microgames fit this in a particularly genius choice. Nintendo themselves pumps out iterative, meaningless game after iterative, meaningless game in the Mario series. I mean, just look at the new Super Mario Bros. Games. There are so many of them and so little variation between them. So Wario is not only a dark reflection of Mario, but also an extension of what Mario is, a fundamental misinterpretation and distortion of him. However, this goes beyond just Mario as a character. I've talked before about how corrupt Nintendo is, and really, whose fault truly is it that there are so many iterative Mario games? What company is the richest one in Japan? Which company is constantly in the spotlight of video game discourse despite its consistent mediocrity? Wario is not just a reflection of Mario, but a representation of Nintendo itself. Nintendo is one of the most famous video game development studios out there despite its consistent lack of quality in recent years. While it was a huge and inspiring juggernaut in the early days of gaming, it's rested on its laurels for far too long and failed to do anything interesting artistically for a long time. If Mario is what the company wants you to see, then Wario is what it truly is, a greedy, uninspired series of suits. It's hard not to imagine that the B team assigned to Super Mario Land 2's 6 golden coins, Wario's debut game, did this intentionally. Many of Nintendo's B team used the Game Boy's lack of attention from the main branch of the company to do more interesting and ambitious things with the console's library. This also led to Link's Awakening's phenomenological intrigue and Metroid 2's harrowing show of violence. I mean, the Link's Awakening team even deliberately hid things from Nintendo, like the inclusion of characters from their other games. Why wouldn't Mario's outings from this team have something interesting to say as well? It's as if the Game Boy teams harbored some amount of resentment for Nintendo, considering their consistent deconstruction of their narratives, and I'm all for it. Wario is Mario. The two are inseparable, one a dark escalation of the other's traits and vices. However, Wario is not only Mario, but Nintendo itself, a corporation like any other, one that destroys art in the name of capital. unacceptable. The way they refuse to preserve their own history and punish those who do, seeing as most of their legacy content is either unavailable or only on shitty online services, and those who dump their games online are often penalized, or how poorly they take criticism from fans and choose to mock them for it, or even how they've created a cult of fandom followers for them who buy every product and defend every decision they make, with every discussion about Nintendo being inundated with ravenous fans who think the company can do no wrong. It's disturbing, malignant, and oh so very Wario. Wario is the machine of capitalism, and so is Nintendo. There is no room for art or soul. And this has been Arcade Everlasting, who really wanted to use the game Mario and Wario in the thumbnail for this video but couldn't find a way to make it work, signing off. Thank you for watching.